Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial by Shayna's Home DIY and Crafts. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to make your own coffee table. Okay, yeah, you heard me right. We're going to make a coffee table, okay? So here we have a 12 footer. It's a 12 footer and I'm running my tape measurement so you guys could see that I have a 12 footer. I think it's 12 or 16. I don't know. I think it's 12 footer. Let's see what the tape measurements say. Okay. Yeah, it's a 12 footer. So it's 2 by 10 by 12. Okay. So we're going to measure up to 4 feet. You guys seen that? I'm measuring up to 4 feet. And we're then going to cut that once we have our line marked at 4 feet. Okay. So these wood are again 2 by 10. I purchased them when I first bought the house because I wanted to take a wall down and I need a heather. So I bought these for a heather. But however, come to find out, we didn't need the heather because there wasn't any retaining wall. I was nervous because the frame over the door. Long story short, I wish I had that video, but unfortunately, it's in the old phone. So I didn't need these. After I knocked the wall out, I didn't need these. So I have them in the garage, and then I decided that I'm going to make a coffee table with them. Okay. So we measure down to 4 foot. We make our mark, and the length of the wood again, like I'm going to show you guys out here, is a 12 footer. There it is. So we have a 12 footer. Okay, beautiful 12 footer. I'm showing you guys. So now this was done early spring. Look at Fiona in the background. I did this early spring, so I got my 14-inch miter saw out, and it's this wood is heavy. When I say heavy, it's heavy. So of course I got to get the saw on the ground, and I kind of like push it on the saw. You guys can see I'm doing that, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut right where I measure 4 foot, or you could call it 48 inches long. Okay, so 4 foot or 48 inches long. So that's where I'm cutting it at. So you gotta make use for these wood. I would have brought it back to the store, but I had a friend brought it up to my house on their trailer, and this thing can't fit in my car. And it's so heavy. Like usually I bring 12 footer in my car, but I kind of like open the window and push it through. In my SUV, I have an SUV, so I'll open like the window and kind of like slant it or leave it hanging at the back. But these are so heavy, and I have a couple of them, so definitely wouldn't put this back in my car to take it. And it's like a good 20 minutes drive to get back to where the Home Depot was. So I'm like, maybe it was like a 5-minute drive. I would have taken the risk, but no. All right, so that's all I'm saying. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut the wood. I tell you what, it's so hard to cut sometimes because underground, because it's the levelest place and the wood is heavy, but because it's not paved, with all different type of stones and everything, that can be a problem. Okay, so I have this video coming for a while and I just can't get it out there. So finally here it is. We're getting this video out there. Like I said, you guys could see it was done in spring. Look at the yard. It looks nice and clean. There's no nothing, no leaf, no nothing. Not even spring. I think it was February. We had a few warm days in February of this year, and that's when I did it. I did that with my fireplace. Also, if you're interested in seeing how I did that fireplace, it's going to be in the iCard above and in the description box below, so you can go ahead and check that out. So all I'm doing, instead of running my tape measurement again, because half of the time I don't get the measurement right because I ain't no professional. So what I did was took the piece that I already cut, measure the new piece off of that, and cut again. That way I know I am safe than sorry. Okay, so if you're like a not a pro like myself and you're just trying to trying yourself and want to help yourself out, then do it this way. Because the pros, they just make measurement and go over there and cut it, but half of the time if you don't line it up on your saw correctly, you may be off by a few inches or a half an inch or whatever, and once you're off a little bit, problem. Look at Fiona. Why did she have to walk on the wood? Like, can you just walk around versus walk on my stuff? She always do that. She always get in the middle of my stuff. I think she gets curious about what I'm doing and be like, why are you doing something? You're always doing something. So that's all I'm doing. So we're gonna 3, 4, 12. So, and the wood was a little bit, as you guys could see, a little bit longer than a 12 footer. So I have to cut that little small piece off. So if you want, you could do the whole math and get the exact 3 cuts, so you don't have to do like I do. But I'm not a mathematician, or I'm not good at that. So I'm just going to measure my 4 foot, and cut off the small little piece and throw it away. Who cares? So I'm just using that piece of wood there to help, and these wood to help balance this on the saw. Like I said, it's heavy, and then it will tilt the saw, or you get your cut messed up and stuff. So That's what I'm doing. And because these are 10 footer, you need like a 12-inch saw or a 14-inch so you can pull out to cut. I mean, you could probably use a 10-inch and then flip it and cut it, but you may not, if you're somebody like me who just trying and doing your own thing, you may not get the cut right if you're not used to using a saw when you flip it. So it's, for me, I have more than one saw, so I just pull this one out. So now I am done cutting all the 3 pieces. I've done cutting down the 12 footer into 3 pieces. Okay, so I have these pieces that, believe it or not, my mom, when I was moving, believe it or not, I threw away stuff that I need, like my grill. Nothing was wrong with the grill, but I'm like, I can't. But I also didn't want to put a grill in storage. I kind of put it out and mark free, and they're gone with it. But believe it or not, I did put a lot of wood and pieces of wood in storage. And my mother looked at me like, where you going with all these things? But I tell you what, wood, sometimes you need just that little piece of wood, and then you have to go buy a whole thing of wood. Nah, so I do save any little bits and bits of wood that I can. So that piece that I just cut is coming from my old house out of storage. And that's what's going to be the leg. Okay? That's what's going to be the leg. So I didn't have to cut the other 12 footer. So I only used that one 12 footer, and then I cut that piece that I had from the old house. So all I'm doing here, I had to move it because I need a level or a flat surface area. This is the best I could do, because if my garage was not full with junk, well, it's not junk, it's my stuff, because at that point I wasn't moving the house. I finally did it this year. Oh, after 2 years, almost 2 years, it took me to finally move into this house. So I took it to the front of the yard because this was the most levelest area. Still not the best area, but it's better than the driveway that has all stone. So I'm using liquid nail, and I'm going to glue those 2 pieces together for the leg. Those pieces are cut at 17 inches. Okay, I did cut those at 17 inches. Okay, again, it's cut at 17 inches. So all I'm doing, I'm just being lazy. I have clamp. I should just go and get the clamps, but I'm just over there pushing it together, like, half of the time at that point, like, now I could find my stuff. At that point, it was just so easier to either I'm going to buy new clamps or just kind of maneuver it like I have no clamps. Because I didn't know where to find anything. So this is a good video for you if you don't have clamps or any of that, so you don't have to go buy any of that. But I do have clamps, but it would have been better off to hold a clamp because that would hold together. But if you don't have any clamps, you could just do like I do. It's okay. Push on it. And don't get frustrated because it will come apart because it's not instant hold. So that's why I have them up there. You see me doing all that. And I can't move it. I have to leave it there. Try to move it, it's going to fall apart. Not instant hold. So anyways. So that's all I am doing. So once I feel like I have everything lined up, like I said, this is the most level surface and I feel like it's all lined up. So I put it on one another to help each other out. So now I'm going to do the long part. Okay, so this is the top of the table. We're going to use our liquid nail again. And I'm just putting it, not too much. Don't put too much liquid nail where when you join those pieces together, the liquid is just flowing off on the side. But put enough to hold it together. So that's what I'm doing. Again, this is the flattest area I could find, which is not the best. So we're doing that. And I didn't really want to do this inside the house because the wood, and I didn't know. Yeah, I just didn't want to do it inside. Anyways, so there I am. I'm wiping off any excess of liquid nail once I put those together. And look at me, I'm trying to like make the ground level. Like, yeah, some tilt to it. So I'm over here trying to push it down. Like, girl, it ain't gonna go down. It's the ground. It's not like sponge or something that could push down. It's concrete. So again, we're gonna put some more liquid nail on the other side, and then we're going to join it to the other side. And of course, Fiona have to get into everything. She wants to know what I'm doing. She's more of a nosy little doggy versus helping me. So now all I'm doing is, because I don't have the clamps, I use a piece of wood. You guys can see it. That's just long enough to hold both sides, all 3 pieces of wood together, so I could hold this together so it doesn't fall apart. Like, because the liquid nail is an instant hold. I just used what I already had on hand. I didn't buy anything new for the project. I did have to purchase those wood, but it wasn't for this project. I had them in my garage coming up on 2 years. So I was just trying to get rid of stuff. Like all the stuff that I have packed up in there. What I used to do is so bad is go to the store and I have all these ideas and stuff. And I buy all these things. And then when it comes to time to do it, either I don't need them or I never do what I said I was going to do. I do something else. So I've started to learn my lesson, and I'm starting to be like, all right, I'm not going to buy anything else unless I know today's the day the project is going to be I'm going to start the project, because then I end up with all these things. It will get used, but it's just that it's a waste of money because it's not something you need at this point, when you could use the money towards something else that you need. And then 2 years later, it did work out, but then I end up with too much things in my garage, my shed, and my house. So we went ahead and we screwed those down so it could hold that together. And here I came up with this plan. Originally, this wasn't the plan for the leg. I wanted to double up the wood, but I didn't want to cut the other wood, so I kind of like make this work like this. But then I needed to join these together. So what I did, I went and I cut a piece of 2x4 and I drill it right in to hold both, right in the center, so I could hold both pieces of those wood together. So originally I had planned on taking that out. It was just to hold it so I could get the glue stick to one another. But it ended up turning out looking nice. It just looked like a little design. So I leave it there. Okay. So, but it wasn't supposed to stay on. It was supposed to hold it. Keep watching and you'll see what it looks like when it turned out. It looks really nice. So that's all I'm doing. I'm screwing on one side. Well, you center it between both pieces of the 2x10. Screw on one side up to the top. One side again. And the same thing with the bottom. So overall, I have 4 screws in here. So 1 and 1, 2 and 3. 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So there it is. So now it was so heavy, I couldn't finish build it outside. I had to bring it in here to put the legs on, because this bad boy is heavy and I don't have any help. So I'm like, oh shoot, I screwed on. I'm like, I can't bring it in, so I have to take the legs back off, bring it in. So all I'm doing, measuring everything, marking it, so I could make sure I get these on. So I take it up, put it on, see how it looks, which way right and which way ain't right, and however and stuff. So we're putting some liquid nail, and then we're going to also use some bracket to attach this on, and then we're going to put some screw as well. Guys, I know this is off topic and you're probably tired of hearing me talking, but my allergy is killing me. All summer it was fine. Last year it was worse, but I was fine all summer, and now fall, because we're heading towards the fall, is just killing me. So that's why I sound like this. I sound like, I don't know, Jamaica we say I sound like duppy. I don't know what duppy sound like, but duppy, for those who don't know what duppy is, it's called ghost. In Jamaica we call ghost duppy. Anyway, back on the topic. So after I mark all of that and I measure, I'm going to take my tape measurement. I'm going to measure to make sure I have this centered. I'm going to measure on one side, and whatever that is on the other side, I want to make sure I have it on the other side, the same number. So I'm centered. So that's why I'm measuring, and I'm just slightly just tapping it in to get it where I want it and where it's not. So you don't have one leg in front and one leg behind. So the table will look like it's walking. The table will look like it's walking versus standing. We want the table to look like it's standing, not walking or running. You know, when you walk, you put one foot before the other, or when you run, but when you stand, you have them together. So, and guys, I did these after work. So if you notice there, I every night after work, when I come home at that point, I do a little bit, because I was on day shift at that point. And look at Fiona. She's like, I'm ready for bed. And you're out here doing table. You know, I'm in my work clothes there. So here I am. What am I doing here? I think I am pre-drilling these screws. Like because the thing, man, these wood are heavy. So I kind of like went sideways a little bit and kind of like tilt the screw like you're drilling in pocket holes. So if you don't have pocket holes, you could just literally turn your screw sideways and drill in. But pocket holes are nicer because you won't see the screw. Okay. So I'm just doing that to hold this for now. And I'm going to do that on every side there is. Plus, even if I want, I could take it out, because when the table gets flipped over, you won't see it. Okay. So we're doing that to hold it. Then on the inside, I'm going to use brackets to hold the inner part of it and brace it. Now, I've seen some people make table like these. You don't have to do what I do with the wood to hold it. You could go buy those metal brackets. But guys, why would you buy metal brackets if you could save $1 and use a piece of wood? I mean, just cut the wood nicely, because I have a bunch of scrap wood. As you guys heard me saying earlier in the video, I don't throw away anything. I don't throw away wood, especially wood, because you need that small little piece. And you got to go up to the Home Depot or Lowe's to buy a big old piece of wood just for that small piece. So I save a lot of small scrap. And these scrap end up work out. That 2x4 scrap, those pieces in the middle are scrap. So and it end up work out. So it's up to you if you want to buy a piece of metal thing to hold it together, or you could just cut down a piece of wood nice enough and put underneath there. So those are the corner brackets. And I tell you what, when you're buying your bracket, just know if your table is gonna be this big and heavy, those brackets were probably not the right size, and this is why I had to put extra screw. Thank God I had put. It's not why, but because I didn't know. But thank God I had put extra screw on the outside, because originally I wanted to use those screw to hold it, and then to take it out after. But when I realized how tiny these little brackets are towards the wood, I'm like, I probably should leave these screw in there, because next thing I know, the table's gonna start doing wacky dip. Now watch me when I'm watching. Wait, hey, watch me. Yeah. So, because the table's gonna start wobbly or get dancing. You will have a dancing table in your living room. All right. So, anyways, we're using those brackets on the inner part to hold the table. So, therefore, you don't see anything. You're not gonna see anything anyways once the table flip. But at the same time, you don't want to make the table look too tacky. So that's all I'm doing, and I'm scratching the head because I'm like, God damn it. I should have probably like read the label of the brackets, because you know how they have different weight recommendation. Like they would say 50 pound, 10 pound, whichever weight the brackets could hold. I just bought those because they were cheaper, and I get 41 packets. I just bought those. So, anyways, we're holding that up. We're drilling that in. Sorry you can't see that. And I'm going to move the camera around for that, because, I just want to get done with this table and go to bed. So now we have all those brackets on. See, I was trying to unscrew those screws. See, I did unscrew it. So when I unscrew those screws, let's see what's going to happen, if it's going to shake. So that's what the screw looked like. It probably did shake, and I put them back. I felt like I had to put them back, because once I put the table to stand up, I felt like it was wobbly. Okay, so now I'm trying to get the table to stand up. It's heavy as, when I say heavy, the table is heavy. I'm trying to figure out how am I going to set this to stand up. And then those pieces of wood, it was wobbly. It was doing watching them. Now watch me. You know that song? Yeah, it was doing that sound. Like, screw that. Okay. I need to get bigger pieces of 2x4. So I went back to my garage. Of course, I have more scraps. And I got longer screws and bigger wood, which is 2x4 versus those little pieces of strips. So the 2x4 did its job. So I went in and I unscrewed those. So those did their job for me to bring in the top part and hold it together. But when this table goes to stand up, nah, man, it needed a little help. It needed more support. So what I did, cut 3 pieces of 2x4 and cut them nicely and put them right in the middle to hold it. Okay? Right there to hold it. And life was good once I did that. That's all you have to do. Now, remember, the table is going to turn down, so you're not going to see anything under there. Plus, not for nothing, because I cut it nicely, it looks like a frame. Like a nice little frame for the table. Now, if you're gonna do like I do, use 2x4 versus, so this is a learning lesson too about buying those straps. I guess you gotta buy, if you're gonna buy those straps or metal pieces to hold this, you gotta get the right load bearing one to hold it. Okay, because if you buy it again like I did with the brackets, the slips, one that's not for the right weight, it's gonna fall apart. So the 2x4, if you're gonna do the 2x4 like I do, don't cut it all the way out to the table, the end of the table, because you don't want to be like looking at that when you sit at a table. It's all the way under, so you can't see when you stand, kneel down, or anything. You literally have to go underneath the table to see that. And trust me, guys, I did the standing test. I didn't video it because I didn't want when I stand on it and fall through it. But I did the standing test, and tell you, I could use this table as a stage, okay? I stand on it. I said, let me stand on it. Well, let me stop the camera first. Next thing I stand on it, and I fall on camera here. So not knowing that, hey, you're going to do a voiceover, so you could literally just stop it. So here I am. All I'm using is some wood filler. And what happened is, because I didn't have a flat area, my wood ended up separating. So this was the downfall of not having a flat surface. Like I say, if my garage was cleaned out or my driveway was paved, I wouldn't have to do this, because I would have it fit snug, because the woods were straight. The wood is straight. There's no bend or curve. So it didn't fit with the liquid nail Or if I had the clamp, that would hold it. So we're using the wood filler, and it's called the plastic wood filler. You see what I'm using there. And I'm just going in this crack, the groove of where it didn't secure tightly together, and I'm filling that in. So even though I want this table to have this rustic look, like, you know those tables that they were making where they have beat up, some people use nail hammer and all kind of stuff and beat it up. Even though I want it to have this rustic look, the separation of the wood just straight down the line like that, you see that straight line from one end to the other, it was just not cutting it for me. Maybe it would have looked good for some people. Depends on how you want. If you want it yearn that way, then it's fine, but it wasn't cutting it for me. So I kind of like did that. So now it's all dry. I leave it overnight and it's dry. So this is the next day. We're back at it, and it's still trying to dry more. You could see. And this is because I did this late at night and we were in winter time. So you see I leave the edge all busted like that, but then I do leave that like that. So now it's fully dry, and I did see I end up liking the 2x4 on it, so I didn't take it off. What I did is fill the holes, and this is now it's completely dried. So I am just going to do a light sand, and then we're going to keep filling it until we don't see that crack. So here we have a sanding sponge, and this is from the Dollar Tree, guys. So you don't have to kill yourself and go to Home Depot or those places to buy expensive sanding sponge. I have a lot of sanding paper because I was sheetrocking the room and I didn't know any better, so I bought a whole bunch of sanding paper. I'm going to be having sanding paper for the rest of my life. However, this sanding sponge was just easier because guess what? You have a better grip on it versus just sandpaper. Okay? Because I bought those sandpaper to cut them and put them on my sanding. There's kind of like a sanding block where you put on a stick. So it's just easier. You get a better grip at this. And also every side of it have a different texture of or level of sandpaper, like the 40, the 80, and 100. So that worked out for me. So go to Dollar Tree and get a sanding block. So this is what it looks like once I was done sanding it. You see that big old gap? If you pay attention closely, after I sand everything off, you could see where the wood filler filled. So if I didn't do that, I would have that big old gap in between once I stain, and I didn't want that because to me that's not cute. That's not rustic. That's the table falling apart. But again, it's your table. How you want it, you make it that way. So we sand off and we're done filling, and I wipe it off, and I put a piece of cardboard box down because of course we're inside the house. Make sure you open your window if you're going to stain yarns inside of the house. I had no choice but to stain mine inside of the house because this bad boy is heavy and I have no help to bring it in. So as you guys seen, I'm using the Minwax stain in the color of dark walnut. I did not buy this because I already had it on hand. So really, it cost me little or nothing to build this table. Yes, it did cost me. But at the time when I was building the table, it didn't cost me anything because I already have all these things on hand. And this little can of stain goes a far way. I have it for a long time. I make wood round signs. Speak of that, if you want to check out some of my other video way back down there, you'll see some of my wood round sign. So I have those since wood round sign and front porch sign days when I used to make those. I think I want to get back into those. So I make sure my windows open, and like I sun the turbo way because I have bad allergy. If you notice, I'm wearing an N95 because again the allergy, and also this thing ain't nice to inhale. It's really bad to inhale. See, I'm getting stuffy. The more I talk, the more I get stuffy. So all I'm using, I have some gloves on, and I have a piece of a piece of cloth, and I'm just dipping in my cloth into the stain, and I'm just wiping that on. And like I say, a little bit of stain goes a long way. This thing is strong, super strong. Yeah. So there I am. We're going and we're going and we're going. I tell you what, I really like the natural wood of the table. If it was up to me alone and me alone, I'm acting like Fiona has suggestion too. So if it was up to me alone and not how the other decor, furniture and stuff in my house is, I would have leave this table that color because it really looked nice, like with the natural wood. I felt like you could just leave the natural wood and do like a whitewash over it and polyurethane it. But Fiona says no. She says you have to stain it so it can match the mantle, because the mantle is like a piece of old rustic. I don't think they ever stained it. It looks like a piece of railroad, like old railroad wood. I don't know. That's what the mantle look like. So just going through and I'm staining it, and once I'm done staining all of that, you know, it's up to you guys. So when you apply your stain, if you depends on how you want it. If you want it to be darker, you leave the stain on it. If you want to be lighter, you wipe the stain off. So now I'm doing the legs, and look how nice that piece of 2x4 looks there. You can see the texture. What I love so far, you can see the texture. You can already start seeing the texture coming through that stain. And I put, if you guys notice, I have that clear clear color carpet, not clear color, light color carpet or area rug down. And this is why I put the cardboard down. My coworkers, they watched me doing this when I was doing like a short video. They goes, I don't know how you did it. Even though you have the cardboard down, I would have still get stuff on the rug. So here I am, mid wax again, wood finish in this color. I think it's white gray. I don't know. I'm gonna have it in the description box below. But let's pull it up closer. I think it's simple white. It's called white simple or simple white. Let me see. Yep, simple white. So it's the mid wax wood finish, transparent is simple white. So like I say, if it was up to me and not to Fiona, I would just use that alone on that table and then polyurethane it. But again, we got to mix it back in. There's a lot of light color going on in here, so we got to break it up a little bit and to make it goes back with the mantle. So once I open my stain, I'm gonna mix it up. That's, you got to mix up your stain, especially if you haven't used it in a while. You got to mix it up. So here I am, I'm using a brush and I'm just wiping it across the table. And this is, I don't know, day number how much. If you notice, I'm wearing different clothes. Every night I come home from work, I do more. Okay, this was like 11 o'clock at night, midnight. I get out of work at 11, so probably midnight, 1 o'clock. I don't know. So, but every night I come home, I do a little. I mean, this table you could build this table in 2 days or even a day. But because I was doing it little by little, because I have to go to work, it took me a few days. I don't know how many days. Just look at the amount of time you see me in a different clothes. That's the amount of days. That's how long it took me to make it. Every time you see me in a different clothes, you know, it was a different day. Okay? And every time you see me in that vest, you know, I just got out of work. I love me some vest, boy, I tell you. So we're whitewashing that with the simple white. And then once we wipe that on, and I get it on nicely and how I want it, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take a piece of, I use those cleaning cloth. I got a whole bunch of them at Lowe's on sale. Those cleaning cloth that you could use to do your dishes or whatever. And I use one of those and I just went ahead and I wipe it off. Wipe it off. And look at Fiona. Boy, I tell you, she ready for bed. She don't play when it comes to her bedtime because she knows once mommy gets home, it's time for bed. And every night I go home, here I am doing this nonsense in here. She's probably sick of me. So we're going to do all of that. Wipe it right through and right through, right through, right through. And look at the white. Now I'm looking at it. It doesn't look so bad coming across with over like to leave it like that. But it's too much white, you know. Well, I can't ask you guys what you think because this table has been done since February. Now it's August. Well, shit. No, it's not August. We're on September 1st. Today's September 1st. Happy September 1st. All right, so that's all I'm doing. Wiping that across, and then I'm going to wipe it off once I feel like I have enough on it where I want it. So nothing too crazy. I'm just wiping. Now, I tell you, if you're going to do this, this thing dry really quick. So if you notice, I have to put a lot of force. I probably should have wiped the stain and then like when I do a few brush stroke, wipe it off. Okay? I probably should do that as I go along versus doing the whole table and then trying to wipe it off because I had to put a lot of pressure on it with that cloth. I had to put a lot of pressure on it with that cloth. You heard the Jamaican coming out. A lot of you guys love my accent. Cloth is cloth. Okay? So, yeah, if you're going to do this and do a whitewash over stain, just wipe it off as you go along. That's where I make my mistake. I should have wiped it off as I go along. It wasn't terrible, like really that bad, but I had to put a lot of muscle in it to wipe it off. I feel like, you know, like when a kid put lotion in their hair and you have to put a lot of force in getting it out. So, yeah, but whatever you do, don't wet the cloth. Just keep wiping, keep wiping. You'll get there. Just keep wiping. You'll get there. But don't make the mistake I do. I'm telling you right now, just wipe it off as you go along. So you won't make the mistake I do because I already told you. Okay? So now, see, that cloth is all full. So I went to go get a new one. because it's so hard and the thing is so much. So I had to change that out. So that's all I'm doing. All right, so once I'm done with that, we're going to leave it to dry and then we're going to come back to it another day. So this is what the table looked like once it was all dry, and so far it's looking good. I love how it turned out, but look at that 2x4 right there. You see the different shade? Because the different wood, when underneath stain, this is what the beauty about stains. Look at all the texture. When you stain a wood, you see that mantle just now? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. That mantle, you see how it's brown? That's why I had to stain the table this way. Anyways, back to the table. You see all that texture? That's the thing when you stain wood. When you stain wood, it bring all that texture from underneath and all that tone and everything. So with all that being said, a lot of, like I said, a lot of people have been doing the whole texture of beating up the wood and everything. I personally like it like it is. With all that texture and grain of the wood, it already look like it's beat up. So I'm leaving it like this. I don't need to beat it up anymore. And look how, and with that, the wood filler in the middle, it already look beat up. So we're going to seal this with water-based, Minwax water-based polyurethane. Okay. So we're using the gloves. We're using a foam roller and a brush. Okay. Foam roller helps you apply it easier and quicker. I use foam roller when I make my wood round signs, and I have no trouble. I use it all the time. So this is it's a stealer. Like using the foam roller, it's everything. Okay, it helps, it levels out everything nicely, and when it dry, it looks like this, but when it dry, everything looks nice. And I know that because I use it on my wood round sign, and you go faster. However, once I was done with the roller here, I feel like I wanted to go ahead with a nice brush and just level it out more. So here's what I did. Look, you can see that's the roller, and now I'm going in with the brush to give it that nice and look how nice that look. It looks like it was sprayed on. So this is a new technique that I'm going to start using on my wood sign after I use the polyurethane with the roller, is use the brush. But don't stop. Like, just give it a I feel like even though I'm stopping with the brush, what I had to do at the end is just do one long streak. Like, don't do like you're painting a wall. You see how I'm doing like that? That's one of the mistakes I had made. However, I caught myself and realized that I have to do one long streak. So before it was dry, but look at the difference. You don't see those little bubble anymore from the roller, and I'm doing that long streak. You just try to do as long as you can and bring it right to the end. So I did go back in and do that because that's something I learned as I go along. Once it dry, you wouldn't really see much, but the brush over the roller, I'll tell you, it's make everything better. It's like freaking like you sprayed it. All right, so you don't have to do that way, but that's something I learned during the process of making this. I always learn something during the process of making stuff. So I am sharing it with you guys. So this is kind of like the final step of it. We're doing the polyurethane, and I'm just enjoying it. It's so therapeutic. But look at the side of that wood. You see the different texture and shade in the wood. I tell you, man, it looks so wood look. You see all the characters in wood underneath stain. Look how beautiful. Look at all that grain and everything. Didn't need to beat it up. So that's what it looks like once I was done playing with the brush. And I'm going to do the side a little bit right there. So that's what it looks like once I was done playing with it. You could see all that wood grain peeping through, and it's already looking shiny. Look at that. Now, you didn't have to do all of this. You didn't have to seal it. But me personally, I want to be able to clean the table off. To me, when you seal the table, it's easier to wipe it off. So this is what it looks like once I was done and I got it all decorated. And you know, it's the table is living its dream. You see how shiny? It's not shine. It's like a satin finish. It's looking shiny because the light is on it and the camera is on it. But it's not too shiny where it's thrown off. It doesn't give you that texture. Okay? But I clean it. That's why I put the polyurethane on it, so I could clean it. And when you wipe it, it doesn't leave residue off like you're wiping off like chalk on a chalkboard. So that's how it turned out. I love how it looks, and it's heavy. I could stand on it. I could have a whole stage show or concert in my living room. It turned out absolutely gorgeous. I had no regrets on making this. But with all that being said, I know I've been talking the whole time throughout this video. If you made it this far throughout the video, it's obvious that you like what you see here, or you enjoy listening to me talking when I sound stuffy like a duppy. Okay? So if you enjoy this video and you make it this far, like I said, why don't you just go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you. Every subscription count towards my channel. It helps. Also, make sure you turn your notification bell on, therefore you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Also, I'm asking you guys to please go ahead and share this out with your friends and family. This way they won't miss out and you'll be helping out my channel. Okay, so now with all that being said, remember that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Until next time, be blessed and bye for now.